Guys, I did it. I finally did it. Finally got a rangefinder. And you know which one I got. My dream camera. The Leica Fed 2. So those of you that don't know the Fed 2 is basically just a Russian copy of a Leica camera. They function pretty similarly to the research I've done, because I don't have a Leica, because I'm broke, and this was all I could afford. Yeah, that's pretty much the main reason why I got this rangefinder, is because it was dirt cheap. But I was also very intrigued by the design and the look of it, and the fact that it's made out of a full metal body, which is also pretty awesome. I bought this camera on eBay. The listing said it was fully working, got the camera, everything seemed to be working great. I put it through all the shutter speeds, everything seemed to work fine. I, put some film in there, and then this happened. Ugh. I was super bummed. Guys, when I say that I was bummed, like, dang. So basically, I bought a $50 paperweight on eBay. Now let me just say one thing. I've bought a lot of gear on eBay. I mean, I've bought pretty much every lens that I own on eBay. Almost every camera that I own, I've bought on eBay except for one. And this is the first time I've ever had, even remotely, a big letdown. So what you see here is what they call shutter capping, at least based off the research I did. It actually looks similar to when you have your flash not synced to the correct shutter speed on your camera when you're using flash photography, and you get that black bar, which is the shutter covering the frame of the picture. So what I found out based off my research is that one of the shutter curtains lags a little bit and covers part of the actual film when the actual moment the actual picture is taken. So that's what you see is that bar is the shutter blocking the film. And based off of my research, it says that this typically happens at higher shutter speeds, but like a good film photographer, I took field notes. And it seemed like it was pretty random. I shot at basically 500 the entire roll. Some pictures were great, some pictures just completely ruined. So, I don't know. It looks like this camera just needs to be CLA'd, and maybe it would work just fine, but being a $25 shipping camera, I'm not going to spend the money to get this thing fixed. If I really want to get another one, which would be nice, probably won't, I would just get another one on eBay and just make sure it is in complete working order, film tested. Alexa agrees. So,
officially the Hellenic Republic, is a country in Southeast Europe. It is situated on the southern tip of the Balkan Peninsula and is located at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa. Greece shares...
Well, now you know where Greece is. But with that said, I still really like this camera. There are a few things that I really like about it. The fact that it is full metal body, that it's small, compact, lightweight, and it's just fun to use. A lot of the features are a little bit quirky, which we're going to talk about here. But I think it's really great. One thing I really don't love is the viewfinder. It's small. It's really small. And focusing is not super easy. Not horrible, but not super great either. You get used to it after a while. I love the turn knob for the film advance. I think that's pretty cool. The lens is awesome. It's a screw-on. Everything's pretty great about this camera, except for the fact that, unfortunately, this copy just didn't work out. So, what I would recommend if you are thinking about buying a film camera on eBay, and you want a good deal, spend a little bit extra money and get one that's been film tested, because that's my one regret with this camera, is not getting one that's film tested, because there are tons and tons of Fed 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, all on the market, and I got one that was supposed to work, but it just didn't work out for me. So, it's gonna sit on my desk as a paperweight. At least it looks pretty. But yeah, for those of you that actually want to get this camera, I would actually recommend getting it, and I'm going to go through the functions of it, so if you are looking to buy one, or if you did just buy one, you'll know how to use this camera. So, let's take a look at the functions here. Alright, so if I haven't completely scared you off this camera yet, let's take a look at some of the features. So to get to the film compartment, you actually have to turn these two knobs on the bottom. They both go different ways, so just note that. One goes clockwise, the other goes counterclockwise, and you just slide it down, kind of like you would on an Nikon F. As you can see here, film goes here. This take-up spool is right here. Now just be careful when you are looking online. I've noticed that some of the cameras don't have an actual take-up spool in there, so you just want to be careful when you are purchasing the C to make sure that it has one. You might have to turn it ever so slightly to get to the take-up spool for this one. I need to turn it almost the whole way. And then you can see it's right there. That's where you would slide in your film. Okay, I'm just going to pop off a shot and then put this back on. Boo! That's bulb mode. So, in order to get back on, you just got to line it up. Be careful. This one's a little bit tricky. Okay. Slide it in and then twist it back. So, oh, there we go. Twist it back. So as you can see, it's not the easiest loading process, but you know, you get used to it. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the functions here. We'll go from left to right. As you can see here, this is where you would pull up and wind the film back. You go clockwise in order to do that. I noticed when I rolled my film back in, at the very end, it got stuck on the pickup spool. It didn't ruin any pictures that way, but I just had to kind of yank it out once I actually took the film back off. Here is the viewfinder. It is hecka tiny, like I said. As you can see in there, there's the focusing finder right there. Perfect. There is a cold shoe in case you want to mount some type of light meter, because this one does not have one. I used a meter app on my phone, which actually worked out really well. So actually now I'm going to move to the right hand side here. Okay, as you can see, this is where you wind the film. Doesn't have an actual lever advance. You just turn clockwise until it stops. And then, boom. Nice, huh? I actually really like the way you wind film on this one. It does have an ASA reminder, but it's in Russian and the numbers are different than we do, I guess, here in America and probably a lot of other places in the world. So I don't even use this. I just take a mental note of the actual film I'm using and just don't even worry about this. As you can see here, there's some numbers here. This is a counter. Once you get your film loaded and then you wind it your 2 or 3 frames, you have to manually set this. As you can see, it just rotates and you just find 0. And now when you actually get this twisted up and fire it, it moves it. Boom. Cool. Okay, so one key component about this camera that you need to know is that before you change the shutter speed, which is this right here, you need to wind this. Then change the shutter speed. As you can see, there's bulb mode, 25, 50, 100, 250, 500. So once you get it wound, then you can change the shutter speed, but do not do it before because you might gum up the works. In order to do so, you just need to lift it up and twist it. Clockwise to go up in speed and counterclockwise to go down in speed. Now you'll see that there is a gap between bulb mode and 500. You never want to try to force it to go from bulb mode to 500 or 500 to bulb mode. You always want to work in your direction of your shutter speeds. So you would want to go bulb to 25 to 50 to 100 to 250 to 500 and then back the same way, 500 to 250 to 100 to 50 to 25. You can skip the ones in between. You just never want to go between 500 and bulb or bulb and 500, or you may break the gears inside the camera. Of course, there is the shutter release right there, and you'll see these 2 letters. One looks like an N and one looks like a C. This is how you would release the gears in order to rewind the film. As you can see here, there's a little dark dot right there. It looks like it's lined up on the end right now, but it's not actually, because it doesn't actually line up with the actual letter you see. That's just an indicator to show you which direction it needs to go for advancing the film, which is on the right, and rewinding the film, which is on the left. And in order to rewind, you actually need to push down and twist clockwise. Now it is depressed, and it's stuck depressed, and this is when you would pop your lever and rewind your film. Boom. In order to get it back to where you can advance the film, push down again and go to the right. Boom. Now it's back up again so you can take pictures. And like I said, it may look like it's actually on the end, which would be rewind, but it's not. It's just, unfortunately, it doesn't actually line up with the letters there. As you can see on the front, we've got a lens. Of course, where you focus, a timer, and flash sync. It also had, I forgot to mention, does have a diopter here if you need to adjust for your view sight. But I think that's it for this camera. Like I said, it's a pretty good looking camera. I enjoyed using it. Wish it would have worked out better. But if you have any questions about the functions of this camera, or if you think I missed anything, just let me know in the comments below. Oh yeah, you can also mount a tripod.